The Northern Illinois loss for Notre Dame could prove to be the best thing that's happened to them this season. Does that sound a little bit crazy? Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about it, though. After that game, a little bit of a gut punch, right? Start to spiral. And it was all out there. It was open season on Marcus Freeman, on Riley Leonard, on what they did in that game. And, honestly, a lot of it was warranted because you just beat A&M. And I sat here the following Sunday and was like, Notre Dame, they're a playoff team. Go ahead and just bookmark that. Go ahead and just, cash in whatever your future was on the Fighting Irish. And then you lose a game you're not supposed to lose, and we're all like, what is going on here? What is Notre Dame? Notre Dame Fighting Irish fans, make sure you're subscribed right here to the On3 YouTube channel. College football every day, talking a lot about your Irish here the rest of the season. Also want to make sure you know this show is brought to you by our friends over at Prize Picks. Daily fantasy, easy to use, easy to withdraw what you win. Got a square for you in this segment we like a lot. So stay tuned for that one. Code HARDCOUNT when you use it at prizepicks.com just for playing $5 in lineups. Win or we don't win. We plan to win, but if you don't win, you still get your $50 in promo funds when you use code HARDCOUNT. Did we learn anything new about Notre Dame that day? From a roster level? Were they not as talented as we thought they were when they beat A&M? I don't think so. Did NIU expose something about Notre Dame that we somehow didn't know? I don't think so. So that begs the question then, why did Notre Dame lose a football game to G5 NIU? Well, why does anybody lose a game they're not supposed to lose? They don't bring their best to the table. Now, the reason for that being, it's a conversation you could have for a long time here. Did they lose focus? Bad week of practice? Bad game plan? Guys not locked in. You could talk that to death, right? That could be a discussion you could have. But the benefit now for Notre Dame, as bizarre as it sounds, every single game after NIU, they understood it's a playoff game. We got to be locked in. And here's the thing, man. When do you bring your best to the table more often than not? Or when do you command the most of yourself from a preparation standpoint? When there's high stakes. The final exam, right? The playoff game. The loser leaves town kind of situation. Notre Dame has been in fight or flight since week 2 of the college football season. Since they lost to NIU. They understood now, hey, if we want to get to where we want to go, we got to win out. And there's been multiple times where I've been a little bit concerned about Notre Dame and been like, I don't know. Louisville, it's a good football team. Win. Georgia Tech, we'll see what happens. Win. They have responded as well as I think you can respond to that kind of situation, to that kind of loss. Because at this point in time now, if Notre Dame was truly not who we thought they were post A&M, it would have shown itself somewhere else besides NIU, right? Think about Florida State. The Georgia Tech game happens, and we're like, okay, hey, we'll see kind of a weird situation, a lot of transfers, and not to throw us straight at Florida State, but we have very much so seen what they are now throughout the course of this season and what's happened there. And a lot of people will say, well, hey, the playoff, is that really a discussion we should have with Notre Dame? Because listen, they'd get body bagged by Georgia, right? One, I don't know. Two, they're not playing Georgia the rest of the way here. Georgia is not on the schedule here for the Fighting Irish. You got Navy this week, you got Army a little bit later, and you finish at USC. USC, as good as maybe they were early in the year, Notre Dame should beat them if we're just calling a spade here in terms of how they match up. It's fair to have questions around Riley Leonard. I've had questions around Riley Leonard too, but I don't think he's the guy that's going to be the difference for them when it comes to winning and losing or making the college football playoff and not making the college football playoff. He's had his first 200-yard games now these last 2 weeks. It's been very, very clear the approach here for Notre Dame. Play great defense, run the football with Riley Leonard. Let's go get after it. So the Prize Pick square that I love in this game when it comes to Notre Dame and Navy, and we'll talk about them a little bit with this next segment with our guy Cato. The Prize Picks number for Riley Leonard with his passing yards is 190.5. I mentioned what he hasn't done throwing the football the last couple of weeks now. Started to open it up. Navy defense a little bit gettable, so I think we'll take the more there. Again, code HARDCOUNT, $5 in lineups, gets you $50 in promo funds. Go ahead and lock that in. One more thing I'll say here. I do think as much as we dunked on Marcus Freeman and said what Notre Dame wasn't after the NIU loss, all of it was warranted, we also got to make sure that we give him a lot of credit for circling the wagons, for getting this team locked in, and for responding the way they have responded. Because when you lose a game like that, man, especially early in the year to someone you're not supposed to lose to, it is very easy for things to go left in a hurry. For guys to start pointing fingers, people to start blaming the staff, blaming if you're lower on the depth, I should be playing, I should be the guy. And so far, from what we can tell, I don't know if that's happened indoors or not, but it definitely hasn't impacted the on-field product. Because right now, man, Notre Dame, they're a force to be reckoned with. They should win out when it comes to how they match up with the rest of their schedule. And I think Notre Dame is going to be a team that we see in the college football playoff at 11-1. If you want to dunk on them for the NIU loss, go for it. Make sure you give them credit, though, for the A&M win, for the Louisville win, and if they end up beating Navy, I mean, it's a top 25 win. We'll see what Army is when they play them. We'll see what USC is when they play them. But like Notre Dame now, I don't think you see this level of focus and presence and urgency if they don't lose that game week 2 to NIU. Again, it sounds crazy. There's no such thing as a good loss, but the loss to NIU, I think, gave Notre Dame the gift of, like I said, urgency and the gift of locking the heck in every single week and raising the stakes for them when it comes to what they're going to do the rest of the college football season. Game Time is the fast, easy, effective, affordable, efficient, electric, juiced-up way to buy tickets for your college football Saturday. There's a lot of good ones now. I mentioned LSU A&M already. Notre Dame, Navy, Cato just talked about. Boise State, UNLV on Friday night. Penn State at Camp Rant. Like, there's a lot of good games now. The best way to buy tickets for the best price, use Game Time. Know before you buy, see the view from your seat using the Game Time app. You can see it from your app once you go buy tickets over there, so you're not sitting behind a pole when you pull up to the stadium. You're like, oh man, my seat is just trash. Not going to happen with Game Time. So use code HARDCOUNT, download the Game Time app, create an account for $20 off your first purchase. Again, use code HARDCOUNT. That's spelled HARDCOUNT for $20 off. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code HARDCOUNT for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed.